All right, everybody. So we're getting underway, starting with the heater. Obviously, while the dash and stuff's apart, we're going to do all the remaining wiring and all the fun stuff that goes with when you got it this far torn apart. There's the gauge cluster and the hood. Here's the center console. There's the main dash. She's pretty far torn down for having 2 miles on it. But it's for the greater good. Gonna go with a Polaris heater on this one because it has 8 vents. Little bigger cab, figure got to be a little bit better, hopefully. Hopefully the extra cost is worth it. I had the Inferno on my other one. Pretty happy with it. Like I said, this being a 4-door, I wanted to go with the Polaris. It's got 8 vents instead of 6, and it's got a little more BTU than the Inferno. So this is a stage 4 ride command. So we have to relocate the sub and amp. So I got that bracket, and basically I had everything down to the sub and amp, and then I'll start mounting the actual box. So if you go to do this, just be sure that everything goes back, because these are the little blue lights underneath the dash. Your 4-wheel drive stuff. You got all the plugs, cigarette lighter plugs, all the ride command stuff. There's a lot. There's a lot taken apart right now. But like I said, I think it's going to be worthwhile. So I will keep going and I'll keep you updated as I go. Okay. Sub and amp are out of here. There's the amp. Sub basically goes bye-bye. Now we can see where everything's gonna mount as far as the Polaris heater. So there's these holes already pre-made. Well, pre-marked, I guess you should say. You still gotta cut them out. So that'll be the next thing we tackle, is getting the box up in place, getting the holes cut out, get everything mounted, get the hoses and lines ran, get power to it. All right, guys. So I got the heater box installed. That's not really too big a deal. Basically, it tells you there's 2 of these figure 8s. One's obviously up underneath there, and then 3 of those little slots here. Drill a 1/4-inch hole, cut the figure 8 out. That's easy enough. Foam goes up on the back side. The only part that I didn't read in the instructions, which it doesn't say, is washers. So I'm underneath here looking at this thinking, well, that's kind of stupid. Why would they not put washers on that? So I found some washers in the install kit, but it didn't say nothing about using them here. So I just grabbed some from my junk drawer toolbox, painted them black, and put them on there. I don't know if they're supposed to be, but to me, that little tiny bolt head going through plastic needs a washer. So anyway, I put a washer on there, and you can see all 3 bolts back there, and I just sprayed them black real quick so they look decent. And then some Teflon tape and those fittings, and we're gonna keep forging ahead here. Okay, guys, so we're cutting all the vent holes in the dash. I already got the upper vents done. So I'm sure there's a million ways to do this. I use just a regular old utility knife. And it says right on this side, a cut on this side of line. So what I do is just run this thing along here and score it up nice. And then you gotta put a little muscle to it, but I'm sure like a Dremel tool, maybe a whole lot faster, I'm sure is a million times faster. I don't actually have one at this point in time. But this makes a nice clean cut. So that's what I'm using. Seems to work good. I did it on my 2-seat. I may try a Dremel on the next one just to see how clean of a cut it makes. Like I said, I know you can just get out of hand with them really easy, where this blade follows this outline that they pre-marked really nice. So I just keep going at it until it's cut through, and then the piece falls out. Okay, guys. So in our handy dandy Polaris instructions here, the side panel right here, that goes right here, it says cut on the markings. It's a round hole, round cutout, if you will. Here it is. So the issue here is it is marked on the inside. It's got a dimple out here on the outside. It doesn't say what size. It's 2.5 inches. So anybody who's doing this install, 2.5 inch hole saw, pop it right through. And you got these round vents right here, here. They go in there, and this is what the finished product looks like. So basically, you got the vent on the outside, and then the inside of it screws and holds it together. So, just so everybody knows, 2.5 inch hole saw, that's the size you want. Okay guys, so here's another thing. This was a stage 4 ride command. So you have to do the amp relocation kit with. So basically you have the sub and the amplifier normally be right here in this location. Now the heater box is in this spot. As you can see, it's all mounted. So now your amp you get to keep. It's the plug for the amp. But normally the bracket was sitting right here with the amp on it. So you have to order the amp relocation kit to keep the amp to make everything work properly. You still lose the subwoofer. I don't know, I'm a little bit torn. I like it, but I'm sure we can have something better down the road. But anyway, so the big process with this, they call out on their instructions that you got to drill 2 3/16 holes. This is the actual bracket itself. So on this 21, it already comes with the holes pre-ready to go, and the underneath holes with the 2 little plastic push pins. The push pins are even already there. So you pull the push pins out, you put this bracket here into place, which goes up underneath the dash and runs down the firewall. And then these 2 screws come with it. You run these 2 in, push those 2 push clips in, push pins, and that's done. It comes with a new zip tie and pin there. The hole's already there. The hole is there from the factory. So you push that back in, tighten up your zip tie, obviously cut the tail off, and you're good to go. So I'm sure these instructions probably work with all the older ride commands as well, which is why it talks about drilling holes. It says to drill 2 3/16 holes there. You got to mark it, center punch it, and also drill those holes back there. So FYI, the 21s have all that work done for you. You just got to put the bracket on and put the screws and push pins in. All right, guys, another quick tip that this is some sticky backed foam insulation that I'm gonna wrap the whole inside of this thing in, inside the doors and such. So a couple areas that I found to be, well, pretty notorious for blowing cold air in is right down there, which I already have sealed up with that insulation tape. And I just touched a little bit with some black paint just so it wasn't, you know, shiny silver. You won't notice it once all the dash is in. Obviously the whole dash is out of this thing. The other spot that I found just real recently here is right here. There's a big, you know, where the plastic cuts around the roll cage, the roll bar, on both sides. So I foam taped that, and I noticed on my 2-seater, that was a huge bunch of air coming in there. The other spot is like around the cage and stuff, which once I get it all back together, I'll do that. But I just wanted to throw that out there. A couple spots that I found that it's not bad if you're riding 30, 40 degrees. When it gets down 0 or below 0, a lot of cold air blows in those 3 spots. So I'm going to seal up the tunnel with that stuff, seal up the center console, seal up any place that I can put it in there that you can't see it inside the doors. I have a headliner for this, but I think I might run that stuff up here as well. Can't hurt to have an extra layer of protection. Keep the heat out, keep the warm in, just depending on what season you're in, and keep some noise down and just make the whole thing a more comfortable experience. So, okay guys, So I got the main dash put back together. Make sure you hook up all your plugs. Got the hoses kind of hanging out of the holes where they're supposed to go. Everything's sort of going back together. Here's our spaghetti. It's not bad. It's actually, this is not as bad as what the Inferno was as far as, but I think the ducting might be a little smaller. I don't remember for sure. Maybe it's about the same, but it just seemed like there's less room. Also don't have any accessories wired up on this thing yet either, so a lot of stuff comes through that firewall grommet. So I'm gonna put all the vents in and then put the lower console together, and then I'm on to cutting into the coolant lines and running the thermostat and the more dirty work, I guess. Shouldn't be too bad though. Hose clamp everything off, and a little bit's gonna leak out. Obviously you're gonna have to add some to fill up the heater itself, the heater core. But it's all coming together. Okay, one thing guys I wanted to show you is the pins that are way up in here. You can see that one right there behind that wire, and the one right here. So you access them from the other side actually, but when you try and take this, so you're gonna take these bolts here out. When you pull this center console piece, this has to come straight down basically. It's got a little hook on each side of this dash. This side of the center console comes off. Just don't forget about those two clips to pull them from the other side, or it will not come apart. You will not be happy, like I was not. But otherwise, that's all that's to it. Pull this down. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's like a hole in the dash or notch in the dash, and it locks in there. So once you get all the bolts and clips out, you gotta you'll have to bend it a little bit. Same thing with the dash cover. When you pull it up, once you get all these clips that are in the front, you'll hear them pop up as you pull up on them. You'll have to pull up somewhat in the center. You'll have a little bit of a bow to the dash to get it to come free from these edges. So just be patient with this plastic will flex, and you have to flex it to get it to pop out of place. All right, guys. So we got the in and the out. You can see where it's teed into there. The bottom radiator hose. We go over to the other side. Teed into the upper radiator hose here. Runs across the other side, and then I just zip tied it up to one of the frame bars here. All we got left is put the thermostat right here, and we'll top everything off and let her idle for a while and warm up. This thermostat says 195 degrees. Hopefully you'll be able to read that. 195 degrees. And I have heard some guys say that if it's not warmed up, you don't get the heat you're supposed to. That's why this is a different system kind of than anyone else's. So we shall see. I got used to the Inferno heater where it pretty much warmed up. You know, as soon as there was any heat in the motor, you start getting heat out of the thermostat or out of the heater itself, because it was on the oil cooler line. So we'll see how this one works. Hopefully I like it as much as I like the Inferno. Like I said, this has 8 vents. So as of now, that's the ones I don't have hooked up is the defrost. We got our side ones. And then I don't have the bottom ones hooked up yet either, until I finish the center console, but I have quite a bit of wiring that has to come through there for various lights and such. So we're gonna finish this up. We'll get it running, get it bled, and see what kind of heat we got. All right guys, so we got all the vents in, all the dash top is back on. Turned out really nice. Looks really good. The other vents over there behind the dash bag, or not behind it, but next to it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. We got the floor vents here, one on each side. You see it, I guess. It's over there in the corner. There's the other side vent. The vents fit really nice and tight. It's definitely no movement. What I like about these is they actually rocker this way. And then also you can open and close them this way. So if you want more pressure up on the window, you can. So far what I've noticed versus my Inferno is that the actual pressure, it blows a lot harder, which is one thing that I would fault Inferno. But like I said, in the 2-door, it keeps it warm. It was really no issue. And my heater finally turned off. It was no issue, so I guess we'll see how the 4-door works. Kids and I took it out. It was like 8-10 degrees. I don't have everything sealed up completely yet as far as cracks and crevices in this thing. But I'm going to put some sound deadener and all that kind of fun stuff, and that's going to help a lot. But, I mean, we were warm. No issues at all. Like I said, it definitely blows hard. It does take a little longer to warm up than what the Inferno does because it has a thermostat, which I don't think I showed any part of that. But so here's the thermostat right here. It's just an inline thermostat. You can see all the hose routing and stuff. It's a pretty easy install. Honestly, the worst part about the whole thing is you have the entire dash taken apart. I mean, you see in the front of this all has to come out. The gauge cluster comes out. There's bolts behind it. Obviously, this comes apart. So there's, I don't know, I think there's 4 or 6 40 millimeter Torx behind the main part of the dash. You just pull up on the top part of this dash. It's got pins here, and then it sits underneath this edge. So you got to kind of pull the center up and then twist it out of the way. Obviously, I got the window in now, but you can't have the window in it when you're doing this. Once it's all together, it's a really clean fitting, good looking. I mean, it seems to work really good. I'll have a video on my Inferno versus the Polaris. This is a 4-door heater, so you got a little difference there, obviously in cab size. There's quite a bit more cab here than what there is on my 2-door. But so far, I'm pretty happy with it, and we'll see. It's in the negatives today with the wind chill, so we'll see how it works. We're going to take it out and put a few laps on it, get it warmed up, and my next video, like I said, is going to be Inferno versus the Polaris heater, and then just how good does it work, what kind of temps does it put out, all that kind of stuff that some people are going to want to know. But I think it's going to work good. I'm happy with it.